Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to some more StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void beta. Today I got an example game for you versus the one and only MDStephano, who spawns as the Zerg player on the other side of the map, but this is a great example game on the strength of Lurkers. So to give you like a short recap of this game, because we are going to do a game analysis and not some casting or whatever, I am going to get ahead quite a lot, but then Stephano starts making Lurkers, and as you guys may be aware, he's definitely a very micro-oriented player. And he's very good at controlling them. That's all I'm gonna say right here, but I will get ahead quite significantly, and then things go a little bit bad. So in this specific game, I am up against Stephano. For anyone who is not aware of it, maybe you've just joined StarCraft 2 a couple months ago, and you may not be aware of him. He is by far the most, like, successful foreign player in StarCraft 2, and with foreign I mean, like, non-Korean. And that means in both, like, tournaments winnings, and pretty much, like, the amount of tournaments that he has won as well, I'm pretty sure. But he's definitely a very, very well-known player. Now, he really got popular back in the day when he started doing, like, these Roach timings versus Protoss and whatnot, and people thought it was absolutely unbeatable. But he's always really been a passive player, so you will see that in this game as well. He's gonna be very much so a passive player, where he will try to get this very, you know, it's very hard is to get a lot of Lurkers out, and a lot of static defense as well. Now, he's asking right here if he can play some Archon mode. We ended up playing some of it, so I got to pick his brain a little bit as far as the actual Lurker play goes. By the way, the actual Archon mode went absolutely awful. Like, we lost every single game, but that's besides the point right here. But basically what he says is, as soon as you get 3 bases out and about 5 Lurkers, I win the game. Like, there's no matter what, I'm gonna be winning the game at that point anyway. And, well, that's, you know, sort of true in this one as well. So, I am playing a very aggressive build in this one. I'm not doing the defensive play, but instead I'm going to be playing very aggressive, and I'm going to try to finish off the game. Now, Lurkers recently got a buff, as you may be aware. If you haven't actually checked the patch notes out yet, I actually did make a video about it. I will leave it as the very first link right below in the description, so you can go ahead and actually check that one out if you haven't already. But in short, basically what they changed to the Lurker is that the ranged upgrade that you previously needed to get high for is now actually at the, you know, actually built into the Lurker. So you don't need to get the ranged upgrade anymore, which means that all of a sudden you can, you know, make the Lurker a lot more useful early on. And this is exactly what David Kim actually posted in the patch notes as well. He said, now I want to see this unit more in Zerg vs Zerg, and I think it's going to be pretty viable. Now, Stephano did mention to me that he actually has been playing this, you know, basically as like he has been playing Swarmmost in Heart of the Swarm. Very, very passive and very, very defensive play, where he's focusing mainly on, like, taking the game to the long run, because he knows that he's stronger in micro, you know, than most of the players out there. And he's been playing the actual Lurkers before that buff went live. So he's already been doing this since the beginning of the Legacy of the Void beta. So that means, you know, he has a bunch of experience with it, and once the unit actually gets buffed significantly, like, a couple range may not sound very significant, but it's actually a huge change. All of a sudden, obviously, that style is going to be even more powerful. Now, my plan for now is to do a little bit of aggression with Ravagers and some Zerglings as well. I got Zergling speed coming in right now as well, and I am going to be getting my, I believe that's a Roach Warren very soon, but I am getting my second gas geyser right now. Starting a bunch more drones though, because I do need to make sure I get some reasonable economy. So we do see some early Roaches right there for him. I am sort of assuming right now that he's going to be going for some aggression himself. I'm not going to assume, well, I should have assumed that, but I'm not going to assume he's playing passive. Literally every single player that I'm playing on the ladder is going for some aggressive Ravager play. So, you know, I'm just trying to play very defensive right here. Now, that doesn't actually seem to be very useful, because, well, you will very shortly see that he's actually not actually planning on any kind of aggression whatsoever. He's just going to sit back with the army and try and play a defensive game, tech up to the point where he can start making Lurkers, and all of a sudden, you know, he will be able to start getting ahead when it actually goes to the late game. Now, one big reason why I was so surprised by it is because I've literally seen absolutely 0 games before where people play Lurkers in Zerg vs Zerg. Like, I've literally not seen a single game where that happens. So I do manage to get a nice scout off right here, running around right here in the natural, trying to figure out what's going on. I see the Roach Warren, I see the extra gases are taken, and most importantly, I see that no lair is to be seen anywhere, but he is taking extra gases. And there we go, we also see the start of the lair. So, right now I realize, okay, he's really not going for any kind of aggression anytime soon. Maybe I will be able to pull something off, because it looks like he's playing like a defensive style, and he will likely start expanding towards a 3rd base soon. So what I want to try and get right now is about 4 Ravagers, so I can start moving across the map, and and actually deal a little bit of damage and actually snipe overlords along the way. Now, in the meantime, I do also want to be getting my third base up just to get that reasonable bit of economy. Now, at this point in time, you can see I don't actually have enough gas to be morphing in my fourth Ravager, so it's not going to be as useful. And as you can see right there, well, 3 Ravagers is just barely not enough. Gonna have to try my very best to micro back right here. Do manage to do that reasonably well. Dodging these shots right there to the best of my abilities. And, you know, basically, we just have a little bit of a skirmish happening right now. Now, as you can see on the production tab, I am following this up with a lair, but also, most importantly, with a lot of Zerglings. I want to try and see if I can maybe get a council on his third base, which I'm assuming he has right now. And I also want to make sure that I actually have the transition ready. So that's why you see me making the third base, as well as the double evo chamber to get the upgrades going. Now, in the meantime, on Stephano's side of the map, I suppose you can say, he's also getting double upgrades. He's pretty far ahead with that, but he has a hatchery going up right now, but he really doesn't have much defense. So I decided to split up half of my army to try and, you know, just snipe that thing down. Just, you know, sort of sacrifice a bit of the army in order to actually get the council on that third, and I do manage to get that one. So right now, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling pretty confident right now, knowing that I will very shortly have the superior economy. And even though, you know, I will probably not have won the game yet. This is a nice position. This is definitely a great position for me to be in. Now, I do know, though, that by scouting earlier, I do know for a fact that he is already... Actually, did I see the evo chambers? Yeah, I did see an evo chamber right there at the front. So, I am aware right now at this very point that he is likely gonna be ahead in upgrades. So, as long as this doesn't go, like, super late, I will be in a solid advantage. So what I'm trying to do right now is get an economy going at my third base and then go for like a second wave of units, so to say. So I want to try and switch into more and more units so I can try and finish it off at that point, knowing that at this very point in time, if you take a look at income, I should be ahead. Yeah, I'm pretty significantly ahead right... Actually, no. He actually has a lot more workers than me right now. Well, he's remaking the third base again. He actually started a lot more workers in advance, but at the very least, well, income-wise is actually kind of even right now. I actually figured I should have more. But yeah, I know for a fact right now that I have a pretty reasonable economy going compared to him, and that I am having, you know, more gases for sure. Now, I am trying to do a little bit of run-by. Doesn't actually manage to get to the other side of the map, but I'm just trying to make more and more units. So if you go back to the production tab right there, you can see roach speed is just about to finish up, which is always going to be a good time to be actually moving across the map. So up to this point, I don't think Stephano has actually even seen my side of the map. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, he is aware of my bases, but he's not even seen my main base. So once again, very, very passive play. Now, on the meantime, I'm actually gonna take a quick look right here at Stephano's vision. You can see that the Lurker den is being morphed in after the Hydralisk den, and that he's already starting up +2/+2. So this is pretty much the point where he later on mentioned, well, at this point, I've basically won the game. There's absolutely no way you will be able to come back from this. And I think that may be true, but, you know, at least with the style that I was playing, it really doesn't work whatsoever. So let's actually go back to my vision right now. Once again, we are back on my camera, and we have a bit of a skirmish right here happening in the middle of the map. Now, keep in mind, up to this point, I've never seen anyone play Lurkers, okay? And while you see a couple of them morph in right now on the production tab, I have not seen them before in Zerg vs Zerg, and that's just obviously a lack of playing in Legacy of the Void, really. But I'm feeling pretty confident. Look at the supply count. I got, you know, about 30 supply up. Managed to catch a couple of Ravagers right there. Managed to get a nice couple pop shots. And also managed to actually kill a couple overlords along the way. So everything is looking quite nice. But here we go. I see a bunch of Lurkers. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? What do I do? What do I do at this point? So I decided to morph in a bunch of overseers. And here's my plan right now. I want to simply try and overwhelm him. Knowing that I got the, you know, the big economy early on, and knowing that I will simply have more army at this point, I should be able to overwhelm him right now. I think I maybe would have been able to, if it wasn't for the fact that I didn't have an overseer with my army, which I really should have had. Especially versus like the heavy roach blade that's been happening with the burrow and whatnot. But either way, I'm just trying to move in right now, trying to zone him away and see if I can get a snipe on this third base. Now, I don't have my overseer here yet, but static defense is pretty powerful. Static defense is definitely pretty powerful. Do get a nice couple corrosive vials, but now once again you can see that the Lurkers are dealing damage, and I have no idea where they are. Like, even if I would see them right now, even though I am somewhat aware of where they are located, I don't actually know where they are. Well, there we go. I do get a snipe on one of them. I do manage to clean up most of the army, and I do manage to actually clean up this third base as well. So once again, I'm feeling pretty confident. I got a couple of overseers right here. We'll be able to kill a couple of drones too. I'm just gonna try my very best to morph in a couple of the low HP roaches into Ravagers, because they do actually heal back up to the point where everything is fine. Now, at this point, you know, I'm like, alright, I got this one in the bag, right? I got this one in the bag. There's no way I'm gonna be losing this one. Trying my very hardest to do as much damage to him as possible, but knowing that he's actually gonna be moving back right here. I see a couple of Ravagers, or a couple of Lurkers rather, move back to me. He is gonna be able to eventually clean this up. And you can see, like, Lurkers deal a ridiculous amount of damage. Like, let's have a quick look at the kill count on those guys. Well, it's actually not that insane on those couple. There's one right here with 10, but that is definitely paying for itself. And while my reinforcements are still dealing a bunch of damage already, this is slowly but surely really tough for me to hold on to. Because those units are so incredibly cost efficient, and because I really can't be jumping on them very much. He's actually target firing down my Overseer. Trying my very hardest to make sure that I can still see the actual Lurkers. But right now, you know, I'm already starting to feel the pressure of them a little bit. Now, once again, do manage to get a kill on that other base as well. So I'm still feeling pretty confident. But I know for a fact that if this goes on very much longer, it's going to be extremely difficult for me to get anything done. And the Lurkers, well, believe it or not, they will be able to clean up that army. And all of a sudden, the supply counts are even. Now, I am aware, obviously, at this point that I am still having a base up on him, that he does not have a third base, and that I will be able to produce more. But right now, I'm thinking, well, what do I do? What would be the logical transition right now? And I believe for the time being, I'm going to stick on the tech that I have, but later on, I do want to switch into Brute Lord. So here's my thought process, right? If he's going to be going for some very heavy Lurker play with static defense, which is seemed to be the case right there, I should be better off making Lurkers. Or I should be better off making, what are they called? Making Brute Lords, knowing for a fact that they will be able to obviously, like, range down those Brutelings at him. And knowing for a fact that that obviously will not be able to get targeted at all by Lurkers, as well as static defense. So that's the thought process right now. Now, for the moment, I'm not completely sure. I'm still sort of like thinking, like, what the heck do I do? And I'm like, nope, there's no way I'm going to be able to break that. So I'm just going to try and walk around a little bit, starting up my Hydralisk den right there for no reason whatsoever. But I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure what to do at this point in the game. Now, in the meantime, if you take a look at Stephano's vision once again, he just has a bunch of these Lurkers, and you can see the damage that they deal, okay? Like, even though I got an Overseer right there, he's just gonna sit behind the static defense. And, well, there's a bunch more Lurkers, you know, going to town right here as well. And he will be able to just simply murder the little army that I have. I'm like, wait a second. These units are extremely powerful. And definitely more powerful than Swarm hosts have ever been in StarCraft 2 out of the Swarm. I mean, they're extremely powerful. But keep in mind, you do actually have to position these guys. You do have to position them properly. So I know for a fact right now that he has the third base out. But I'm checking. Does he have a fourth base? Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like it. But what am I going to go for? So I am transitioning right now towards an infestation pit. And I could either decide right now to switch into my own Lurkers, which would probably be the better choice, as you will see very shortly. Or I can transition into Brute Launch right now, and that obviously is going to be what I am going for, not knowing the fact that there is a pretty solid counter that Zerg has right now through Brute Lords. Once again, this is the first time that I'm playing against this, so I'm not completely sure about the counter to it, but you know, you will very shortly figure out that it's not going to be Brute Lords. Now, for the time being, as you can see, the Hive is starting up right now. I am playing pretty passive as well, trying to move across the map and just sort of trying to make him deny bases. And I know for a fact right now that there is no fourth base taken, okay? I've got scouts pretty much everywhere on the map. I know for a fact that I have a fourth base and he doesn't. And I know also that his third base, or his main base and his natural will be mining out relatively soon. And in the meantime, on Stephano's side of the map, he's just making more and more Lurkers, as well as more and more static defense. And the Zerg turtle is real right now. He really has no intention of moving out across the map anytime soon, until he maxes out on this army that is near unstoppable. So he is also attacking up to a Hive right now, which actually, like, if I would have seen this at the time in this game, I would have been pretty surprised by it, because I'm like, well, what is he really gonna transition into? Is he gonna go for, like, Brute Lords? Is he gonna go for Ultralisk? Like, what's he actually going for? But it turns out he's actually gonna go for a bunch of Brute Lords, or a bunch of Vipers. Now, Vipers obviously have a couple of abilities. They got Abduct, they got Blinding Cloud, and most people will be aware of that. But they also have a new ability known as, what's it called again? It's like, Parasitic Bomb? I think it's Parasitic Bomb. There's so many new names. They always come up with these, like, interesting names. But, Parasitic Bomb is basically an AoE ability that the Viper can deal to air units. And what happens in this, like, little circle the affected unit is actually gonna take 90 damage, but it will also deal that damage to like the circle around that unit. So what happens is that all of a sudden you will be able to deal a lot of damage with Vipers if the air units are clumped up. So I am right now transitioning towards a greater spire. I am already pushing across the map a little bit more, sniping off like a lurker or two if I can, and just denying him his bases. That's my thought right now, because if I get a maxed out army off of a bunch of brute lords, like what is he gonna do? What's he really gonna do? I mean, I had a massive advantage earlier. What is he really gonna do against that? So, making a couple of overseers, already starting up 6 corruptors right now, and not thinking about the new Viper ability. I'm feeling pretty confident. I am feeling pretty confident. Now, in the meantime, Stephano is going for some upgrades right now of himself. You can see that the +3 is now started, +3 missile attack, which by the way does benefit these guys. Lurkers do get benefits from these upgrades, and I believe they get like +2 attack or something like that. And then Vipers also actually are in the production tab right now for me. Now, in the meantime, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for this greater spire to finish up. And if you go back to my vision, I'm trying to push forward, but I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure how much I can do with it. Now, the gut instinct for me right now is to just sort of get a bunch of overseers, try and jump on top of a bunch of these lurkers, snipe them down, and go away again, right? Like, that's what you would do versus Swarm Host. You would try your very hardest to just sort of jump on them, and then, you know, you would finish it off. Now, he is meanwhile expanding towards the 4th base, as you can see in the middle part of the map, but I'm okay with that. I got 6 Brute Lords morphing it right now, got my 5th base and my 6th base up and mining right now as well, and I've got a massive economy. I mean, I got everything I really want right now. Now, I'm gonna be moving these Swarm Hosts, or these, not the Swarm Hosts, rather, I'm gonna be moving those Brute Lords farther forward right now, knowing that, you know, he doesn't really have a counter for that with the static defense and the Lurkers. Now, actually, at the point of this game, I wasn't really thinking about it, but Abduct doesn't work versus Brute Lords. Like, I never play Brute Lords in Zerg vs Zerg in Heart of the Swarm ever. Like, it just doesn't happen in my games. But actually, it got changed so that Brute Lords cannot be abducted. So, I'm a little bit confused right now about exactly what he can do, not thinking about Parasitic Bomb. So, I got my units coming in, trying to get a kill on this new 4th base right now. And my Brute Lords, in the meantime, I'm sending those towards the higher ground where he will have a hard time target firing them down. Now, I see the Lurkers. Or I see the Vipers right here, and he's throwing down the Parasitic Bomb on all of my Brute Lords, and you can see the massive amounts of damage that deals. These are Vipers, guys. Vipers just killed 6 Brute Lords, and it didn't even do anything. Like, they didn't even get a single shot off, I don't think. And they're just completely dissipated. So I'm like, wait a second. This is actually absolutely awful. Obviously, like, I would have maybe been able to do a little bit more damage with them if it wasn't for the fact that I had them all clumped up. But still, in total, it would have been able to just sort of kill them, I think, even if I had them spread out. And at this point, I am still not sure what I should be doing. I decided to go for a bigger switch into Corruptors, and with that, into more Brute Lords, and try and just sort of have them, like, spread out, like, sort of, like, wave them around, I suppose you can say, where it really does allow you to get a bit more vision going. And obviously, you will neglect the Parasitic Bomb AoE abilities. But with that, I also know for a fact that the Hydralisk are gonna have a much easier time picking them off when, you know, obviously there's like a big group of them. You can't actually have them all separately controlled, and he's likely gonna be able to pick off 1 or 2 without them ever getting any shots off. So, I'm really confused about what I should be doing. Now, looking at this again, you know, at the end of this game right now, well, it's not really the end yet, but looking at this again in the replay, I probably should have just sat back and made like a much bigger army and wait for him to get to my side of the map. I would have been much better doing that. Just maybe try and deny a base of him. But, you know, what I'm doing right here with all the aggressive play simply does not work versus the Lurkers. Once they're up to these numbers, how many does he have in total? There is 12 Lurkers only, actually. It's not even that many. But it's just gonna be super hard. So once again, a couple of these Parasitic Bombs going down. The Zerg splitting is not amazing. And he will be able to kill a couple of these Corruptors. Absolutely no problem as well. Now, the energy is kind of low, so right now I'm smelling blood. I'm like, alright, maybe I can get something done. So, having the hold position right now on these Brute Lords, trying to deal maximum amounts of damage, trying to spread them out to the best of my abilities, and just sort of trying to rain down on Stephano's base right now. But still, these Brutelings get dealt with just fine. And while maybe able to kill like a creep tumor or so, it's not really doing as much as we would ideally like to. So I'm a little bit worried right now about the Hydras maybe swooping in from the other side, from the back, but the energy is back. on all of these Corruptor, or all of these Vipers. And, well, even though I am not splitting them, or I've not, like, got them grouped up right now, the amount of damage the Parasitic Bomb still does is absolutely insane. Like, you know, it's just not something you can deal with. Like, this is not something you're gonna be dealing with Brood Lords. This is what I tried to say right there. Obviously, I think what I should have done after I got that massive aggression. Oh, by the way, this is me jumping on this army. This is me jumping on a bunch of Lurkers. Okay, hold on. Let's actually back up 1 second right there, just so I can show you the engagement a little bit better. So once again, okay, I'm jumping on this group of Lurkers that are burned right here, and these guys are just having a field day. 15. Actually, let's go to division. 6 kills, 15 kills, 6 kills, 11 kills, 22 kills, 24 kills, 10, 1. Like, the damage on these things is absolutely insane. And at this point, I am feeling the pain. But what I think I should have done, after, like, establishing that massive economy lead, when I had, like, 6 bases versus, like, 3 or so, what I probably should have done at that point is switch to simply a whole bunch of Lurkers myself and play the waiting game. I don't think switching to Brood Lords would really work. What Stephano actually did mention, though, is that one thing that works reasonably well is going for Colossus. Knowing that Colossus actually obviously have a crazy amount of armor right now, they can take like 5-6 seconds against a Lurker. So what happens is that, you know, instead of them dying right away, you may be able to get some kills off them. And if they are forced to unburrow, you will be able to grab them just fine. But yeah, this is where things are going to be really difficult. Oh, the Hydras are here as well. I'm trying to move my army back, trying to make as much as possible, but I'm just not sure what to do. Vipers are progressing through the map right now as well. And, well, Stephano's on the move. He knows that he will likely have the upper hand right now in economy as well as an army. And I've been trying to produce a lot of stuff. I've been trying to make a lot of units happen, but it just simply, you know, it's just simply not working out. He's harassing right now with a bunch of these units. Once again, we see the bomb right there going down on all of my air units. And, well, then the Hydras swoop in. So what am I really gonna do? Well, I'm just gonna box everything, try and get one solid engagement done, and then, you know, cross my fingers and hope it works out. But you can see the strength of the Lurker. So that was really the goal of this game, to show you guys how powerful Lurkers can really be, and, well, how they will be affecting Zerg vs Zerg in the very near future. Because, well, as of right now, I think it's gonna be a lot of Lurker versus Lurker play in Zerg vs Zerg. Yeah, so here we go, the final engagement right here. I got barely anything remaining, and the Hydralisk army will be able to take me out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this game. If you haven't already, hit that like button right below the video. And also, if you want to be the very first one to get a notification when I upload another video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because, well, you'll be the one. Hopefully, maybe. You know, along with like $50,000. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile. And I'll see you in the next one.